What would happen if Modulo Yuji trained Gojo and Geto? Would the strongest duo in history still fall apart? Would Geto still descend into darkness? Or would Yuji change his future before it ever begins? And if Gojo and Geto reached their true potential together, then what happens to Sukuna's future? Because the answer changes everything. The entire Jujutsu Kaisen timeline. It all starts on an ordinary training day. Nothing about the setting feels important at first, but something feels wrong. There's a person standing in the training ground and nobody remembers seeing him arrive. Yuji Itadori is just there, almost like space itself accepted him without asking questions. Gojo notices him immediately, not because he feels dangerous, but because he barely feels like anything at all. Strong sorcerers usually distort the atmosphere around them without realizing it, but Yuji doesn't. It's like every unnecessary part of his presence has been completely removed. Geto notices it too, but unlike Gojo, he doesn't laugh immediately. He just keeps staring, because nothing about Yuji fits into a category he understands. It doesn't feel like hidden power. It feels like refinement taken too far. Then Yuji calmly walks towards them and says something that instantly changes the mood. You are both wasting cursed energy. Gojo laughs instantly, because hearing that from a random stranger sounds ridiculous. But Geto doesn't dismiss it so easily. He is already trying to understand what Yuji noticed in a single glance, so Gojo decides to test him. The first attack is casual, fast enough to check reflexes, but nowhere near serious. Infinity activates automatically, like always, but then Yuji keeps moving forward, not by forcing through Infinity, not by overpowering it, but by moving in a way that never fully triggers the space in them, and the result feels wrong immediately. Gojo stops smiling. Now he's actually paying the attention. His cursed energy spikes, his speed increases, and beside him, Geto finally joins the fight. Cursed spirits appear from every direction, trying to trap Yuji from all sides at once, but the fight never develops the way they expect, because Yuji doesn't overpower them. He doesn't dominate them with raw strength. Instead, he keeps adjusting tiny moments, tiny timings, tiny corrections, until every single attack loses value at the exact moment it matters most. Gojo strikes become slightly inefficient at contact. Geto's cursed spirits lose coordination. The instant Yuji reads their structure, nothing gets blocked, nothing gets destroyed. Every attack simply becomes ineffective, and that's when both of them realize something terrifying. They are not overwhelmed, they are being corrected. Gojo pushes harder, faster attacks, sharpened reactions, real intent now, but the result still doesn't change. Every action collapses from tiny inefficiencies Yuji notices instantly. Geto adapts too. His cursed spirits tighten formation. Their movements become cleaner, more coordinated, more precise, but the outcome stays exactly the same. Cleaner execution, same failure eventually. Gojo stops moving entirely, not because he is forced to, but because continuing the same way suddenly feels pointless. A few seconds later, Geto lowers his spirits too. At that moment, the fight stops feeling like a fight. Yuji looks at both of them calmly. If you keep using cursed energy like this, you will always waste power, no matter how talented you are. Then he says something neither of them expected. If you want to improve, you need control, not output. And then he leaves. No dramatic ending, no explanation. He's just gone. But neither Gojo nor Geto follows him, because for the first time in their lives, someone exposed flaws they never even realized existed. The next day, both of them already waiting before Yuji arrives, not because they were told to, but because yesterday stayed in their heads longer than it should have. Then suddenly Yuji appears again. No footsteps, no warning, and calmly says, training continues. This time there is no fight. Instead, Yuji starts explaining cursed energy in a completely different way either of them learned before. Most sorcerers only focus on releasing cursed energy outward. That's the first mistake. Gojo stays silent. Geto listens carefully. Yuji continues. Before cursed energy is ever released externally, it needs to stabilize internally first. The atmosphere changes immediately, because for the first time someone is explaining cursed energy like a system, not a weapon. Then Yuji brings up reverse curse technique, but not like some legendary ability, not like a miracle. It's simply the natural result of proper control. It's reconstructed through stability. Most sorcerers fail because their cursed energy becomes unstable before the process finishes. Then Yuji demonstrates it. No massive aura, no explosion, no dramatic build-up, just a subtle shift. The cursed energy flowing through his body suddenly reverses his direction perfectly, without overflowing even slightly. Geto notices it instantly. It doesn't feel stronger, it feels complete. Even Gojo's expression changes, because for the first time reverse curse technique actually makes sense beyond theory. And from that day forward, the real training begins. Gojo is forced to maintain stable cursed energy, so while moving, no spike, no unnecessary reinforcement. At first, it sounds easy, but within minutes, Gojo starts noticing countless micro leaks in his own control, tiny losses of efficiency he never realized existed. Geto's training becomes even harsher. He has to summon cursed spirits while keeping his emotions perfectly stable. The second his intent fluctuates, the structure weakens immediately, and slowly both of them realize the same terrifying truth: their fighting styles were never as efficient as they believed. Days pass and the training only gets harder. Yuji corrects mistakes instantly. Every wasted movement, every unstable surge of cursed energy, every unnecessary action, nothing escapes his attention. Slowly, Gojo and Geto begin rebuilding the cursed energy flow from the ground up. The one day, Yuji introduced something completely different: Black Flash. Most sorcerers think Black Flash is luck, a random phenomenon, a miracle that happens by chance. But Yuji immediately rejects that idea. No, Black Flash is synchronization. The atmosphere turns silent, but Yuji steps forward slowly. Physical impact, cursed energy timing, internal flow. When all three align perfectly, space itself distorts. thoughts. The problem isn't speed, the problem is instability. Then he demonstrates it. One moment, one strike. The instant his fist connects, space bends through a fraction of a second. Black lighting erupts outward violently. The impact alone shakes the entire training ground. But what terrifying the most is how effortlessly it looked. No build-up, no preparation, no visible strain. Just perfect execution. Gojo immediately understands what's make it dangerous. It wasn't random. Yuji turned toward them calmly. Black flash stops being rare. Once caused energy flow becomes stable enough. That single sentence changes everything because suddenly black flash no longer feels impossible. It feels reproducible. Then Yuji says something neither of them expected. You can trigger it intentionally. Even Gojo goes silent after hearing that. From that moment forward, the training changes completely. Gojo begins practicing perfect cast energy synchronization with every physical movement. Every punch, every step, every shift in momentum. Nothing is allowed to drift out of alignment anymore. Meanwhile, Geto completely restructures how he controls cast spirits. Instead of relying on instinct, he starts focusing on timing, precision, coordination, flow, efficiency, and slowly, both of them begin evolving into something completely different. Gojo stops treating cast energy like something he releases. Instead, he starts treating it like something he positions. Every moment becomes cleaner, sharper, more controlled. Infinity itself becomes smoother because less cast energy is being wasted maintaining it. Geto changes just as much. His cast spirits stop behaving like a chaotic army. Instead, they begin functioning like coordinated systems. Layered formations, adaptive positioning, perfect support timing. The difference becomes terrifying. Then eventually, Yuji reveals the final truth behind Black Flash was never special. It's simply what cast energy looks like when nothing inside the system is wasted. And after hearing those words, everything finally clicks for them. Not just power, not just combat, control itself. Months later, the Star Plasma vessel finally begins. Rico Amane is still the target. The bounty still exists. Hidden assassins still move across the city and somewhere nearby. Toji Fushiguro prepares to attack, but this time is already different because Yuji's training changed the way Gojo and Geto perceive danger itself. They no longer react only to cast energy now. They react disruption, irregular movement, distorted flow, absence where something should exist, and that single difference changes everything. While escorting Rico through the faculty corridors, Gojo suddenly stops walking, not because he senses cast energy, but because he senses something missing. A tiny disruption in the environment, a break in the natural rhythm of space itself. Geto notices it too. One of his cast spirits reacts violently near the ceiling path above them, and instantly both of them understand. Toji. The attack begins immediately. Toji drops from the above with the inverted spear of heaven, aimed directly at Gojo said. His speed is overwhelming, fast enough that in the original timeline nobody could ever react before impact. But this time the strike never lands. The instant Gojo enters the range, Gojo moves first, not after the attack, before it fully forms. At that exact same moment, Geto's cast spirit explodes upward from multiple directions, cutting off every movement path around Toji before he even touches the ground. And for the first time in years, Toji realizes something is wrong. Gojo appears beside him mid-air and drives a reinforced strike directly into his ribs. The impact destroys Toji's balance instantly. Before he can recover, cast spirits slam into him from the opposite direction, forcing his body into unstable position. His assassination rhythm collapses immediately. Toji tries to adjusting with the spear, but Gojo is already gone from that angle. Another strike lands directly in abdomen. This time, the cast energy timing is perfect, not raw force. Perfect execution. The moment Toji's breathing breaks, Geto compresses cast spirits around every possible escape route. For the first time in years, Toji lands badly, and Gojo gives him absolutely no time to recover. No arrogance, no speech, no hesitation. Yuji trained that out of him. The second Toji shifts his weight to counter-attack, Gojo reads the moment before it finishes and smashes into Tom. The spear angle breaks instantly. At the same moment, he is positioned from the opposite side, and suddenly, one opening appears against ordinary sorcerers. Toji survives that opening. Against these two, he doesn't. Gojo steps forward and lands a perfect synchronized black flash directly into Toji's chest. Black lighting erupts violently across the corridor. The impact alone caves the floor beneath them. But before the damage fully settles, Geto attacks too. Compressed cast spirits output slams directly into the exact destabilizer point created by Gojo's strike. And just like that, and the strongest assassin in this world dies. And after years of training Modulo Yuji, nobody describes Gojo and Geto as merely talented anymore. That would become so far too simple for what they turned into. But because there's no longer fight like gifted sorcerers, fight like perfectly assist, the future itself begins changing because Sukuna's return no longer leads into the same weak timeline he originally expected. This world is different now, stronger, sharper, more prepared, and somewhere in the future, the King of Curses is about to awaken inside a timeline already perfected by Modulo Yuji's training. So what happens when Sukuna finally returns and find Gojo and Geto standing together at their absolute peak? We'll see that in part 2 after this video reaches 200 likes.